Yo, what is going on, guys and girls? Welcome to another edition of Cleanpin, and what we do here is we talk wrestling, all things wrestling, on the eve of Elimination Chamber. It's 5:11 on the East Coast time here. Let's make sure we have Anchor aboard. There we go, and Anchor is now aboard. We do stream live on YouTube on From the Bleachers Sports Show, the YouTube channel, and you could also find it in audio form, Anchor, YouTube, Anchor, Spreaker, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah, this is like a long form video audio podcast dedicated to everything and everything professional wrestling, and we're on the verge here of Elimination Chamber, and why not? With Elimination Chamber on the verge here of Elimination Chamber, let's look. Let's start where I guess. Where all eyes will be pointing on, and that's the Elimination Chamber. Let's look at the final card. Let's see. Let's see what we have here. As far as the Elimination Chamber, go into some predictions for you, and then talk about other things, other wrestling news. So let's begin as I'm pulling up the official card here. Let's see. Let's talk about being unprepared, right? Let's see. Google it. Just Google it. Final Elimination Chamber pay-per-view card. Not even pay-per-view, but more like WWE Network. So when Sunday, February 21st at 7 p.m., that is the kickoff show, starts at 6. A couple minutes away from the actual kickoff show here. So here's the Elimination card. 2021, the Elimination Chamber WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match. Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus versus Randy Orton versus AJ Styles versus Kofi Kingston versus Jeff Hardy. I think this is shaping up where Drew McIntyre will win. I don't see it. Randy Orton, he just had the belt. AJ Styles had the belt a few times. Kofi Kingston, the kind of recently, I don't know what they were trying to do. A couple weeks ago, they announced him that they're going to put him through the gauntlet, only to have him lose. Like, they made a whole big skeptical of him going into the gauntlet, only to lose. Were they trying to kind of recreate the magic that Kofi Kingston had prior to him losing the championship to Brock Lesnar about 5 seconds flat? If so, what was the point of making all this big rah-rah commotion gauntlet just to have him lose? Jeff Hardy, I don't see that either. I see a Drew McIntyre going into WrestleMania. Who will he face going into WrestleMania? Who's going to be his challenger? I see Edge going after Roman Reigns, and we'll get into that later. That leaves who for Sheamus, for Drew McIntyre come WrestleMania? I could see it being, honestly, Brock Lesnar. If you watch like Talking Smack and Talking Raw, that's when, for whatever reason, that's probably where you see some of the best, if not best promos right now from the WWE's on Talking Smack or Talking Raw, where you had Sheamus cut this amazing promo, pretty much almost like breaking the fourth wall, where he goes, I know the people in the back don't think that I'm a draw, that it's a WrestleMania match. Well, I'm going to prove you guys wrong. I'm going to go into WrestleMania as the champion, blah, 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 blah. But he did mention that, which, unfortunately for Sheamus, I think is right. I think that it won't be Sheamus versus Drew somehow at WrestleMania. And I don't think that it will be Sheamus coming out of the Elimination Chamber, which is, and Sheamus and Drew McIntyre have a unique story to tell. They just kind of have started this story at a weird time, I think. I don't think I don't think that will be a strong enough card. I don't think WWE sees it as a strong enough card, unless you have a three-way where you have McIntyre, Sheamus, and Brock Lesnar as a three-way. Then maybe I could see that happening, that match. So I think it will be, for all intents and purposes right now, and now we're not doing WrestleMania predictions, and a lot of things have to shape up still. But I think it will be Drew McIntyre victorious in the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber. For the Universal Championship #1 contender Elimination Chamber match, you have Kevin Owens versus Jey Uso versus Cesaro versus Daniel Bryan versus Sami Zayn versus King Corbin. Winner will take on Roman Reigns. So, for this chamber, very interesting. It's very interesting. I think what will happen, I think you will see Cesaro winning this. Cesaro will win this. I could see them really trying to get behind Cesaro now, kind of rewarding him. As you've been seeing, Cesaro kind of has been highlighted more. They're giving him more of a kind of main event matches. You have, Cesaro versus, Cesaro teaming up with Daniel Bryan now, kind of being on the main event last couple of weeks. So I could see that. I could see Cesaro winning, trying to give him that baby face push. And again, Talking Smack, Cesaro cut a promo that I have never heard him cut before, kind of when the sleeves are rolled up and off the top, nothing scripted. Beautiful promo that Cesaro caught on Talking Smack, and I think with him signing a recent new contract, that's WWE's gift to them. Really give him that push. Will he ever win a championship? Too early to tell right now as far as a heavyweight championship. But this would be the first step to kind of make him credible. So if you have Cesaro winning that, Cesaro would then go against Roman Reigns, and that's when I see your setup for WrestleMania and Seth Rollins being involved with fuckery, getting involved. Cesaro getting attacked by, Jey Uso. Jey Uso getting attacked by Seth Rollins at one point, to kind of really push home the fact of how strong Cesaro is and what a threat he should be taking. But Roman Reigns nonetheless will walk away victorious as your champion for WrestleMania. The Raw's Women match, to be determined. You have Asuka versus GBA. I think, with Lacey Evans kind of there throwing a wrench into this, being really into this storyline after being legit pregnant. You're not going to have her wrestle, obviously. So we'll see who Asuka will go against, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's maybe a Charlotte Flair, and kind of rejuvenate that rivalry that was a couple of years ago. Going into Mania, I think, and going into Mania, it's good. Let's say Asuka versus Charlotte. I think that could be a preview of a Mania match and I think this will be your Elimination Chamber match. Set up the feud. Once tag team partners now kind of have their lines of communications crossed. One storyline goes kind of dissipates, goes away, but this is kind of what they're going to lead into to kind of start the new storyline. And I see Charlotte versus Asuka for the Elimination Chamber. I see Asuka winning this match. United States Championship triple threat. They're apparently saying that Keith Lee has been pulled. That the latest rumor that Keith Lee has been pulled. So I could, I don't know if there was any replacement. I just heard that Keith Lee has been pulled. So you have Bobby Lashley versus Riddle. Heck, geez, even if, let's say, Brock Lesnar, think about this. If Brock Lesnar is not, let's just sign for WrestleMania, you could probably put a Bobby Lashley versus McIntyre versus a Sheamus for a WrestleMania card, which would really be a nice heavyweight match there too as well. So not knowing the third guy there, let's just say, to kind of leave this possible, maybe they're going down that route, the possibility. Maybe they're actually tossing it around, I believe. Maybe having Lashley feud for McIntyre for the championship. Why would Lashley need the belt then that he currently has? And the United States champion. Matt Riddle is believable. He's former UFC guy. Though Riddle has been choked out by Lashley, Riddle's able to do the same thing, same type of repertoire. Let me go with Riddle winning, being your new champion. Does dissension happen too because of Riddle winning? What's going on at ringside? Keep that in mind if there's any tomfoolery, fuckery going on at ringside. Women's Tag Team Championship match. You have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler will win this, and that's going to set up the feud, the friendship, the admirable mutual respect that you have between Sasha and Bianca Belair will go out the window. We see this a mile away coming. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler will retain versus Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. That is your Elimination Chambers predictions. If you hear Alexa buzzing, that's my food being ready. Let me leave you off with a commercial break here as I tend to my food, and we'll be right back with more wrestling talk here. We're going to go back old school here to 2018. What do I have here in my repertoire? An old video. Let's see. Bear with me 1 second, guys. Actually, I know where I'll go. I will go with a recent video that hopefully you guys did see. If you did not see, this is going back old school, looking back at when Bobby Heenan stole Matilda. And the Islanders stole Matilda. Hold on, here we go. You guys just kind of keeping that going. Be right back. Geez. What's going on there? Hold on here 1 second.
But do you guys remember, let me adjust this. Do you guys remember when Bobby the Brain Heenan and the Islanders stole Matilda, the British Bulldog? Brilliant angle. I always loved the fact that that Brains team there kidnapped the dog. Heenan taunts the fans with the collar and leash, and at the same time plays the victim. He taunts the fans with the collar and leash, same time plays the victim. Brilliant times. Listen, he had to have been pretty much a practical joker, I think, before he even got into wrestling. He was the most, and this is kind of like a no-kidding statement, but I think he was the most interesting guy in the WWF that didn't wrestle at all. In the words of Bobby the Brain Heenan and all you ham and eggers. Spent his entire career trying to get the fans to hate him, but in the end, almost everyone loved him. I loved at WrestleMania 4 when Bobby the Heenan wore a kind of a trainer outfit to protect him from Matilda after the six-man tag. Such a great angle, pure evil by Heenan and the Islanders. And seriously though, right? Who do you know, anyone that would ask Haku for the dog back? Haku, the great Haku, in real life, knock the crap out of you, just destroy you. And there were some angles I remember too, like I don't know, WWE was like recreated that angle, I think, with Al Snow and Big Show, where Al Snow's dog was made into meatloaf, or and Big Show fed Al Snow his dog. So they really know how to tug at your heartstrings. This feud took a toll on the Islanders, right? Lots of public complaints regarding the dog napping of Matilda. This feud, should have culminated at the Royal Rumble '88 in Hamilton, not at Mania 4. A great tag team that deserved more. A shame that Tama left after Mania 4 for NWA, and Haku would be briefly paired with High Chief Afi. In Ian's autobiography, I think he says that the plan at WrestleMania was to have Matilda bite him, and at the end of the match, to have Matilda bite him at the end of the match, which is why he wore the outfit. He purposely fell face down when being chased, but Matilda instead walked into his back and sat there. weren't we so worried about Matilda growing up? I know I was. I hope all is well. I look forward to speaking to you guys very, very soon.
All right. One more little quick video as I'm wrapping up. Then I'll be back with you guys. Let's go. Thoughts on way back in the day. How about Jim Ross blast finishers being used as common moves from a couple months ago?
So, legendary commentator Jim Ross has kind of lit a fire under today's generation of wrestlers with some blunt truth about the modern product. He's gained a lot of recent attention for expressing his insights on his Grilling JR podcasts. In the latest episode, they discussed past finishers being used as common moves. When asked if the DDT and super kick should be protected or if it was part of the evolution of the business, Ross responded with the following. That evolution of the business, quote, is bullshit. Yes, they should be protected, but the super kick is just a part of the flow of the match. Nobody wins with it. What does that say to you? Does that say, guys, back in my day, were more proficient in delivering a DDT or a super kick than in this generation, where things are evolving? I want some proof of that shit, he goes on to say. And this is Jim Ross, obviously, comments from his podcast. I want somebody to prove to me that the changing of the wrestling business is at what it is today, and it's making a difference. I say no. You know, I told a kid the other day at AEW that everybody does the same fucking spot. All you guys go outside, you cluster up like coils, you stand there in a huddle, friends and foes together, side by side, so you could catch some leaping idiot going over the top rope who never wins with this move. They are looking for the holy shit chant. They love to hear this is awesome. It's a spot, folks. It's a trampy act. I don't buy into that. The DDT is a great finish and should be used as such. You know, and there have been two general responses to Ross's observations. There are those who are going to laugh about it, and then there are those who assume that Ross doesn't understand the product as well as they should because he is older than them. Anyone who is foolish enough to dismiss Ross's comments, to me, only reinforce the negative stereotypes about younger generations. He is far more than a friendly voice you are used to hearing on TV and in video games as a kid. Ross has called and studied more matches than most wrestlers will ever watch. He is there besides the crowd whenever they react to each spot and promo. He also been in the backstage. Yeah, he's been in the back. He's been backstage agent in one of the largest North American promotions during its peak. He has helped create some of the biggest stars in the industry.
There you go. Just a little snippet. You got the gist of most of that video that I made, and I'm back. Dinner is saved. It's saved. The house is not burning down in the casa from the Bleachers Sports Show. Your boy Tommy. The casa is alive and well. Got the food out of the oven, plated, separated like a good husband, and all is well. And we're back. So you have the Elimination Chamber. We're just a few, about a mere little over an hour away now at this point. So those were my predictions. We were going into other news. We were privileged. Oh, and I mean privileged by being graced. Being graced by the presence of L.A. Drake. Or Eli Drake. No, wait. L.A. Drake. L.A. Knight. We were graced by the presence of L.A. Knight, a.k.a. Eli Drake. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you, NWA. And a guy like Eli Drake being in LA Knight, being in AEW, it's a good damn thing. Okay. Now, as long as he's a good promo guy, very good promo guy, instantly, when you look at AEW, probably instantly the best promo guy. Maybe all of the company, best promo guy. A guy like L.A. Drake, Eli Drake, I've been a fan of. Most notably in NWA, which I will get to. A guy like Eli Drake, and right now I think if you ask the talent, they rather be in NXT than Raw or SmackDown, honestly, because it seems that NXT is, for the most part, where they where they have their act together. Though there are certain instances where one would question if they have their act together, but for the most part, they seem to do, and that's where a lot of talents want to be. Look, you have all these guys that have been down there forever and haven't been called up, or maybe they have been called up, they just don't want to go. So I could see a guy like Eli Drake or L.A. Knight being down there in NXT for the course of the remainder of his career. I think he'll be fine as long as as long as it's clear that there is only one Rock, and I don't know. Sometimes I feel like Eli Drake sounds, or is trying to sound, or kind of I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is. No, I'm sure Eli Drake has been doing this longer than The Rock. I'm sure there is. Flattery, they say, is a what is a form of no, imitation is a form of flattery. I think L.A. Knight will be fine as long as he remembers that he is L.A. Knight, Eli Drake, and not so much. Let's not get too carried away and think that he is the Rock, if you know what I mean, right? As far as, or maybe it's just me, but as far as the promo, I think it's a little bit too. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but Eli Drake will be fine. The only issues where I could see is somewhere on the mic, maybe hitting too close for comfort. Maybe is that the word? Too Rock-esque. Or maybe I just completely wrong on this, but gotta tread, or you gotta be careful. Gotta tread lightly, and I don't know. I think that. Maybe that's just me. But as much of an Eli Drake fan, or LA Knight fan I am, it sucks. It sucks that I see LA Knight, Eli Drake, in a WWE NXT ring and not a NWA ring, which is last where I saw Eli Drake being the most one of the guys that the audience, that live studio audience there, just clamored after, or just were eating every single word that he said in the NWA. And Billy Corgan, who has taken that company where it was from the brinks of obscurity, or you might say it was already in obscurity. The old school, the long time wrestling fan never forgot about the NWA, but ask any of the new guys, the new cats following wrestling, who the NWA is, and they wouldn't know. And then Corgan purchased the company, and then he came up with something which was, again, brilliant in NWA Power. 6:05, 1 hour program. A nice mix, mostly on wrestling, which is what that niche wanted to see. It's the older wrestling fan. They wanted to see wrestling, and they were up, firing on cylinders. And I was watching it weekly. They finished with the first season. They had established Nick Aldis as being this sneaky heel, strictly business, this faction of Nick Aldis and Camille, and just they were building names, they were building stars, and then the damn COVID-19 happened, and it sucks. It affected everyone. It affected businesses, and it affected lives. It affected everyone. And wrestling is something where, at the end of the day, it's something that the fans, your fans, kind of look to escape, look to watch, look to get away from all the troubles, get lost for an hour. And for a while there, the wrestling wasn't greatest. It was horrible. But you appreciated what companies like AEW, WWE were trying to do. They stayed on the forefront. And then as the pandemic kind of continued, these companies improved. They found a way. Smaller companies started running shows again. Heck, now you even see cross promotion. Wrestling is different completely and it's changing. And New Japan is working with AEW, and AEW is working with Impact, and AEW wants to work with WWE. All these wild and crazy things. I mean, hearing all these names of federations, MLW, AEW, New Japan, everything except for NWA, gone, just dormant. Billy Corgan, I beg, and in that meantime, all our stars have gone. Ricky Starks, Colt Cabana, Eddie Kingston, Eli Drake, James Storm. They're all Serena. Heck, even our champion. You found out that our champion lost on another program. And then weeks later, you air that match as if it's just airing for the first time. And it's just, NWA needs to find a way. Needs to find a way. They're not being spoke of. Everyone has forgotten of them. Billy, I beg and plead you, please save this company from falling apart. And you might say we're turning the corner. Vaccines are out. Billy, why hasn't the NWA been able to adjust like other companies have? Maybe even do wrestling matches outside in areas. Maybe even do kind of like a drive-through wrestling show, which I heard, promotions have done. Why not a Zoom, something. Why, if you have an audience, if you have a studio audience, even if you can't pack that TV studio to max capacity, why not have at least some people there? Something. And, they have a Patreon page. And it was embarrassing. No one signed up. You can't expect relatively small amounts of people signed up. You can't be asking for donations and Patreon and all this if you're not trying to put forth an effort. Then you just try something. James Storm, you were making him a household name. Baby boy. Mama Storm's baby boy. You don't want NWA to disappear again. And I worry that is what's happening in this pandemic because, I don't know. Billy Corgan, who does he have to turn? He had Lagana, which apparently is not there no more due to, some news back then. And, you worry. You worry that NWA, this pandemic, was the knife into NWA's heart. I'm sure, hopefully it's not. And I wish that they would just try to do something to come back. Hold on for 1 second, guys. And we're back. We're back. Brings me over, speaking to another little bit of news here that that broke, that I'm sure you guys have seen, regarding AEW and Sammy Guevara. Was that Sammy apparently has heat. Sammy has heat apparently, and Sammy Guevara kind of has poked fun at this in one of his recent vlogs that he did, where he kind of just poked fun of it, where he has so much heat that he jumped into a big pile of snow, apparently, making fun of it as if it never happened, no such thing. Apparently, and whatever you want to believe of the story, and it gets a little convoluted, it gets a little twisted, has a few little bumps and few little turns here along the way. But and this is a deal. Impact wanted Sammy Guevara to go down there, and Tony Khan was apparently all for it, and he goes down there, and I guess what's the initial pitch for Guevara, what he would be doing at Impact, he didn't like. And then I guess Tony Khan kind of struck it down like he didn't like it. Then there was another pitch that Khan approved, and Guevara was sent down to Impact, to the tapings, and he went there, and or apparently he found out what he was doing, and he didn't want to do that, and I guess he was texting management, and he said, you know what, I don't want to do this. I'm still in flight. And then apparently they told him to turn back around. That would be the better thing to do, not even show up. And that's why apparently he has heat, whether you believe it or you don't. Pretty much what it comes down to is he's not happy with his character. Well, how his character was supposed to be portrayed. And then what's more to it, apparently, it's come out in recent days, what Guevara's pitch is that he wanted to win the X Division Championship and just take it to AEW and not defend it at all. That's what he wanted to do, or that's what his apparent solution was to this whole problem, this whole little schmaze that they had going on here. And listen, so let's just dissect the second part of that here. If in fact Sammy Guevara wanted just to win the championship, the X Division Championship, and just take it with him to AEW and hold it hostage. That would not be what's best. That would be a horrible idea. Remember that Impact Wrestling needs AEW, not AEW needs Impact. So for Guevara to win that championship, first of all, just coming over, and because he shows up, he gets a title shot. To me, first of all, wouldn't make sense. It devalues the title. Hey, anyone that shows up could get a championship. So I was never a fan of like these guys that disappear for a long time or first make their appearance in the company for a long time, just based off of a name, would get a title shot right away. Now, does Guevara even have that type of a name to be getting a title shot right away? I don't, no, I don't think so. So for him to get a title shot after never fighting a match in Impact Wrestling would just devalue the championship and not make it seem to mean anything. And it would further along, kind of go along that point by if you were to win it, not defending it. You're treating the belt as a prop more than an actual accomplishment. Now, for the first part there of him and Sammy Guevara kind of speaking up, not liking the direction of his character, where it's going, I could see it to a point. I could see to a point what the wrestler means and why he did. Heck, I mean, this is your name. This is your brand. How your brand is portrayed. How your brand is portrayed is important. It affects what you will make, what people see, what people think of you. Right, so this was supposedly, whatever they wanted him to do in Impact, he didn't want to do. Now, listen, has Guevara been around the business that long to be pulling these types of moves and potentially, messing up a friendship between AEW and Impact Wrestling? No. He's not that type of a guy that should be, doing that, pulling these type of power moves. But then again, if you look at it, again, you are a brand outside, because you are an independent contractor. If I'm not mistaken here, didn't Impact have someone, get sent into the third world, or someone get presumably killed on Impact and made to disappear, or did someone's heart get ripped out of his body? If I'm not mistaken, and we're supposed to have suspension of disbelief here, was that not a storyline? I believe that was a storyline that probably had its way in Impact, so it's probably made its circle. So in that case, I could see a Sammy Guevara being like, "Holy crap! Wait a minute, is this the guy? This is where the company where someone's heart was taken out of its body, and we have ghosts and weird stuff happening. Oh, this is Impact, and they want me to do that. Okay, then I could see it. But again, we don't know the full story here. So you gotta, at least for the first part here, you gotta kind of look at it. You have to have the whole picture, and we don't have the whole picture in front of us. moving on to and again, this news kind of made its round here, and everyone was all up in arms and blah 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 blah. It's the same type of video, and where I say, kind of insert celebrity name here. Bad Bunny is your new 24/7 heavyweight champion. He defeated Mr. R-Truth, rolled him up. So if you remember, this title, the 24/7 championship, has a great lineage already. Heck, who do we have? We have Doug Flutie being a champion at one point here. We have Mr. Rosenberg being the champion as well. Couple of celebrities have had that title. Unique lineage. 24/7 championship. Now, I've made many videos about this champion. And forget about Ric Flair. I mean, how many times has R-Truth held this? He is the actual record holder for most championships over his life. I probably venture to say probably has won that championship and lost that championship at least 50 times at this point. If we look at the actual records, which I don't have in front of me. But listen, Bad Bunny being the champion, it's a good thing. Bad Bunny, there he was with the belt on SNL, because he was guest hosting SNL, with the 24/7 championship belt. Bad Bunny, a guy that has millions of followers on YouTube, and I'm sure Facebook and Instagram. Remember, even though us old geezers have never heard of a Bad Bunny, majority of us haven't, a guy like Bad Bunny crosses over into another genre, which helps open eyes, and people that aren't fans but are fans of Bad Bunny might now want to peek at WWE because he was wearing that cool WWE championship. So really, this is what this belt has become. It's a way of getting, free advertisement, by carrying this belt around. And that's what it is. You have, the WWE is probably saying, okay, Bad Bunny, can you do us a favor? We're going to give you this championship, but, when we give it to you, can you just carry it with you on stage when you're, when you're hanging out with Ricky Fallon or whoever you're hanging out with on national TV? Can you just show them the 24/7 championship? Keep it on your lap. And yes, that is what Bad Bunny did. He brings exposure. So this is what this championship belt means. Exposure for WWE. Free advertisement. I had hopes for this belt being like the new, kind of rule. When they say falls count anywhere, rules anywhere. I thought it's a nice. And I think back to the. I think it was Briscoe or Pat Patterson when he wins the Hardcore Championship, rolling up a sleepy champion, and the ref counts and he goes 1, 2, 3, new champ with the Hardcore Championship. But that's not what this belt is. It's turned into something else. It's a belt that's used for comedy fodder, and we know that no one takes it seriously because you see instances where um, the R-Truth is being chased, and here come the guys that are chasing after him. Your Tozawas, you're the other guy from Heavy Machinery chasing after him. This belt is looked upon as comedy fodder, but it serves its purpose when it needs advertisement, and that's why this belt will definitely be sticking around. So don't worry. Don't be so upset about Bad Bunny being your champion. This belt will change hands to R-Truth. That way he could be your 50th something else champion, and it will be all gravy, all good in the hood. Oh, I see that we're approaching 56 minutes here on Anchor as far as the audio side here, the audio podcast version of it. So this will conclude, as we'll wrap up here, audio version. But you guys on audio, you could always check me out on From the Bleachers sports show, which is, fun. It's fun. So as we bid you adieu, I'm gonna kind of jump into one more I want to get into two more things here that I kind of had on my mind. Matt Cardona versus Matt Cardona now with Impact versus Brian Myers. You already have this this feud, and they're feuding already, and Matt Cardona just came in. Brian Myers has been around for quite some time. I just don't see personally why this feud is happening right away. This feud could, and it's kind of, it has potential, but I think they're just kind of rushing it along, and it really kind of, it's hard to, and again, I know it's suspension of disbelief. What is it? Suspension of belief? Suspension of the belief is probably the right word to be using. And, you have Cardona, you have Brian Myers there. They still have their podcast network, YouTube channel thing going up, and and they're very vocal, very out there on social media. They are a buddy. They collect action figures, so they're collecting action figures, doing a podcast together, and then the next minute we tune in on Impact and they hate each other. I think if we would have had some time, if this kind of did not just jump in right away and, it kind of worked its magic, then I think I would be a lot more into it. I can't get into it when the first feud that Cardona gets into is Brian Myers, and yet here they are doing podcasts and having a YouTube channel and collecting figures, going to figure stores together. It just doesn't jive for me. The presentation, I think if you would have done this a little bit longer down the line, kind of built in a slow burn type of a story, then yeah, I would be all for it. But right now, I'm just really not into it. Not into it at all. So we wrap up the audio side here of the podcast on Anchor, iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. Let's see here. Put this in. Save. Let's see. Gonna name this podcast. And if you guys have any questions, write it in the comment section down below. I want to get into Riddle. Matt Riddle, who always finds his way here. Some guys love that social media, right? Sometimes it's just best not to say anything with Riddle. I'm just naming uploading this on audio. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. Publishing it real quickly. Sorry, guys. Want to make sure this is up and going. This video portion should be up relatively soon there afterwards. Name it here. And going into Riddle, let me read you exactly while I'm doing this what Matt Riddle said here. Just put in Matt Riddle. So this just pulls up here. Let's put in Matt Riddle. Undertaker. All right. Matt Riddle to The Undertaker. We're not soft. We've evolved. And don't do stupid things like bring guns to work. Matt Riddle, quote, says that the current WWE roster isn't soft. They're just smarter and involved in many ways, and The Undertaker should respect that. Riddle recently spoke with Vibe Wrestling and responded to The Undertaker's remarks about the current WWE product being soft. Many WWE superstars have spoken out and dismissed the Phenom's claims, and now Riddle offered his take on the situation, telling Undertaker that he still respects him, but today's athlete is smarter and they're learning from the mistakes the previous generation made. I will tell Undertaker or anyone else, times have changed, the human race and everyone is evolving, and yes, we don't carry knives and guns to work because we have metal detectors and things keep us safe. So people don't do that. We have a wellness policy where we all getting tested regularly, so we're safe and in the right state of mind. I'll tell you this, I love my job. I show up to work, and mind you, I'm a former professional UFC fighter that broke people's jaws in a steel cage. Riddle noted something that wasn't around when he was a young man, and I bet if it was, he still wouldn't have stepped up because it takes a different breed. Oh, Matt. First of all, many ways you could go there. In a sense, I think the wrestlers today are smarter. I don't think many wrestlers from this generation will be dying young like the former generation has. They've died young, really, really young. prior generation, combination of things, combination of partying, combination of drinking, combination of doing drugs. That's war. That definitely has wore that generation down. That lifestyle when you're on the road will catch up to you. So in that sense, in today's generation wrestler, they're too busy playing video games. They're streaming online. They're streaming Madden. They're playing Pokemon, for goodness sakes. And here's where I will disagree with Riddle. I think what's changed is here why this what's changed is not so much what's changed is this generation is really tech savvy. Everyone has social media. Everyone has some wrestlers have a Patreon page, an OnlyFans. They have followings on Twitter, followings on Instagram, side endorsement deals, things along that line. They're everywhere involved in social media. They're all over the place. And I think what gets lost is the fact that instead of when these wrestlers are on the road, instead of communicating, they're too busy texting or going on YouTube, going on Instagram, making a podcast, listening to a podcast, instead of listening to, I don't know if wrestlers do this anymore. I don't think they do. Instead of listening to stories on the road, stories of going town to town. And, right now, there's no such thing as going town to town. A lot of these guys are doing, coming up through NXT. In NXT, they're already making more than the guy working the indies. They don't have war stories to share. They've had it made. They have everything at their fingertips. That element is lost. And because that is lost, you don't have a product that catches as many people's eyes as it once has. Here's, I think, what Undertaker means by soft. And this happens again because stories aren't told anymore. People just mind, wrestlers just, I think, mind their own business and focused on their little smartphones more than anything. Had you maybe spoken, or have you maybe speak to an old-time wrestler, you would maybe be in tuned to ring psychology. You might know a little bit more about ring psychology. Instead of, you're having a feud with someone and you're pissed off at them. You're squared up in a circle, and the first thing you do is a rest hold. You're mad at someone. You have a match with them. Your bell rings, and the first thing you do is a rest hold. Ring psychology. That's where the wrestlers are soft. Punches don't look like punches anymore. You don't put effort between what you're doing. You've lost the art of telling a story. Because I think how you're able to tell the story is fighting many wrestlers, fighting different backgrounds, fighting different styles of wrestling. That tells a story. If you work with the same type of wrestlers that had the same training as you did at the NXT Performance Center, how much are you really learning? What you're portraying on TV is soft. I think that's what The Undertaker means. I think he means that how wrestling is portrayed, it's soft. Storytelling is soft. Ring psychology is soft. Now, there is physicality in the ring. To do what you're doing, you're definitely not soft. But portraying it, it's not being done the right way. And I think we could all agree to that. Nattie Neidhart, and I'll leave you with this. We hold on one second. Anyway, Nattie, so what it was is they were doing like a little bit of like if you had X amount of dollars, you had, let's say, $15 to build a team, a wrestling dream team. And each wrestler was given, and you have to build up a team. And each wrestler had a certain dollar amount next to them to build up a team. That's a long story short of it. Nattie Neidhart had pretty much like the dollar value next to her was, I believe, like something very low. I don't know exactly what it was. It was like something like $1 maybe or $2. And everyone up above a buzz on the internet complaining, how this is not right, how this is wrong. Everyone up in arms, and everyone coming to the defense of Nattie. Nattie, don't take Nattie. We have your back. This is not right. And just, oh my gosh, a damn make-believe game. That doesn't mean anything for anything. It's just all make-believe. And people get bothered by this. How do you get bothered by this? Come on, you have to have thick skin. This is a make-believe game. No one's taking away your accomplishments. Nattie, what you accomplished in the ring, in life, is more than a lot of people that are, at home playing this game. So feel okay about yourself. It's a dream team scenario type of a game. Nattie, please come back to earth to me. This is not serious. This is just hearsay. I mean, it's fake. It's make-believe. It's just a damn game. Listen, WWE believes in you. You still have a contract. You haven't been released. You haven't been let go. Can we please have a little thick skin here? Please. Gosh, man. Gosh. Guys, I hope all is well. This wraps up this edition of Cleanpin. Enjoy the Elimination Chamber. We're about 30 minutes away. Please do subscribe. Subscribe to the rest of my channel here. Notification bell. You're going to see all types of videos here. Sports and everything related. Have another channel, which is Grez, G-R-E-S. That's filming locations, famous places, famous graves, pop culture. I'm going to expand that as well. Watch-alongs, all that fun stuff. I hope all is well, guys. Enjoy Elimination Chamber.